and especially in the US, I feel like you're really taught like, oh, your country is like the best in the world, like America's the best. So like that means like you don't really like care about looking outward that much. For example, something that I didn't like realize until like I looked into it is like abortion is actually like illegal in Germany, but it's not like enforced.
Okay.
So it's essentially like the laws that as I understand it is like if you're under the age of 14, it's like in any case it's allowed. But if you're over the age of 14, you can only get it within the first 12 weeks.
Okay, so coming from the field of tech, it's equally important for me to, bring someone who is also from the field of tech as well. On this episode, I have Leona. She's from the US and she's studying data sciences over here. Her field is quite interesting, and her direction is also very interesting. She brings in a lot of value, a lot of insights about the US culture. And being a woman from tech, I feel she brings a lot of inspiration for everyone who wants to go in that direction as well. And I feel the conversation gets a lot more deeper. We talk about a lot of things which are very stereotypical in the US. We cover a lot of areas, so it's a very interesting and very balanced conversation, a very balanced podcast, I would say. So I hope you get a lot of value from her conversation, and make sure you watch until the end. And let's get started.
So I'm Leona. I am studying data science and mathematics. This is my last year of university, and I chose to do like an entire year abroad in Germany. Yeah, that's me.
That's really good. So I mean, you happen to be one of those people who are like studying STEM courses like me.
Yeah.
It's very easy to relate to. So, but why did you how did you land up in data sciences as a field?
Okay, so essentially, like, I have always really enjoyed math. Like, it's been my favorite subject since first grade. And so, like, basically since first grade, I've been like, I'm going to study math in college. Like, I know I'm going to study math. I love it so much. And then my senior year of high school, I started studying statistics, and I really enjoyed that. And then when I, like, actually got to university, originally I was doing, like, mathematics and statistics. And then I took, like, a computer science course, and I really enjoyed that. And then so I switched from math and statistics to math and data science, because it's like all three together basically now.
And how is it going so far with you? I know that you have adapted quite well in Germany, and this for Germany is quite giving you good vibes. But how is the version of you? I think this is the second time that you come here, right?
Yeah. So wait, this is my third time or fourth time that I've been here.
Okay.
Which is actually like a lot. But in terms of adapting, I would say like it's not that unusual to me because like I said, it's my fourth time here. And also like I've done more like solo travel. So now that like I feel like very comfortable being like independent and having to figure things out on my own. But at the same time, like my German is quite good for like the amount that I've studied it. So I think that's definitely like helped me a lot. Yeah.
Which makes sense for it. But you talked about research from mathematics to computer science to now data science.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the direction that you want to essentially go in? I mean, where are you looking at? I mean, that's something that I'm curious about.
Okay, so like something that I used to say a lot is like when I graduate, I would love to be employed, which I stand by that. I'm going to university like realistically because like I want to be able to build myself a better life than if I didn't go to university. But at the same time, like I'm just very interested in like education and studying. So because of that, like I think I want to continue pursuing an education. Like I applied for a PhD program and I want to do research. So that's kind of like the direction that I'm heading. But at the same time, like because I'm studying data science, I do feel the pull of industry. I do feel the money pull of industry. But I think probably like I'll end up in like a research position either in industry or like at an academic institution of some kind.
Okay. I mean, from what I know and what I've seen is like a lot of immigrants are essentially working in the US. So is it like really different, or is it like really or like specific that only like a specific amount of people choose the stream, or how is it like for you?
I think, okay, part of the reason I think that like there's so many like immigrants in tech is because has a lot more to do with like the laws than like people wanting to be in tech, because essentially like both in the US and like I know more about Germany.
Yeah.
If you want to like immigrate here and get a job and have a lot of opportunity, you have to have a university degree. And basically like there's a couple specific directions, one of them being tech, where it's like, and it's much easier to like
Wow.
immigrate. So it's like the government is like picking the workers that they.
So you mean to say that people having a degree gives them a much more better chance of Davis?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So it makes sense. People going for masters in the US and then essentially getting a job is like so connected together.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think I won't really touch that part of the US again, but
Okay.
yeah. Because I want to know more about your experience in Germany, and I feel you and I have this a similar approach towards the EU specifically.
Oh yeah.
That we feel like EU has like almost figured out a lot of things.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I would generally agree with that. Like, we've had conversations before about like, what's like right about the EU, what's wrong about the EU, and like, I would say like from the perspective of someone who like is from the US, like I like it a lot because like it does a lot better on like those like standard of living issues.
Yeah.
So like it has better transportation, it has better healthcare, like there's a better work-life balance as compared to the US. But at the same time, I feel like there's some things that like it doesn't exactly have figured out. Like, I mean, I think that a lot of people like don't realize that like Europe isn't necessarily as socially progressive as like the US. Like, yes, the US like has problems, absolutely. I'm not one to deny that, but like, for example, something that I didn't like realize until like I looked into it is like abortion is actually like illegal in Germany, but it's not like enforced.
Okay.
So it's essentially like the laws that as I understand it is like if you're under the age of 14, it's like in any case it's allowed. But if you're over the age of 14, you can only get it within the first 12 weeks. And you have to like go to your doctor, they have to like recommend it to you, and then you have to like wait for like 3 whole days before you're like actually allowed to get the procedure. And like that really blew my mind because like that's in the US like that's a huge thing of saying like, oh, we don't want these mandatory waiting periods, like this is like basically bullshit. And so like it was crazy to me that that's like the case in Germany. And that's the other thing is like it's technically still illegal, but there's no one pursuing these cases because that's like sort of the equilibrium that they have like come to.
I see that. That's kind of surprising to me. I mean, I thought it was like an open thing over in Germany.
No.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're talking about the best scenario in the US, I mean, it's in India it's like entirely opposite because I don't think so it's even like legally allowed.
Oh really? Okay.
Some places for sure. And people, I mean, the society as a general is like a lot against these facts.
Yeah, and I think that's also something too I should say is like, at least in Germany, like, I guess I don't know specifically about the opinion on abortion, but I think that there's like a bit of a split between like older and younger people. I think this is true like in a lot of places where like younger people are more socially liberal than like older people, like they're more socially conservative.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about like the other bases which are in the EU apart from Germany? I believe you might have looked upon other places where it's might be legal or it's like allowed as the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like as much about like the political situation in the rest of the EU just because like I'm very like specifically interested in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to learn another language right now.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, I think that's a very deep insight.
Yeah.
I mean, coming to a conclusion that there are things like these which are happening in Germany. I think that's requires like a different approach to things. But do you plan to stay in Germany for like a little longer than expected, or
okay.
how is their opinion building up and shaping up so far?
Okay, so I think like going into this exchange year, I knew that at the end of it, I wanted to stay in Germany. But so like at the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm going to apply for master's programs, which are like 2 years. And then I was like, okay, maybe then I'll go back to the US. Okay. But now I'm like looking at like PhD programs, which would be like 4, 5, 6 years here. And then do I really want to go back to the US? I don't know. I'm kind of like really enjoying living here, and like there's not a lot for me personally that's like bringing me back to the US. Like yes, like I miss my family and like my friends and stuff, but like especially like my friends, it's like none of them like live anywhere near each other, so it's not gonna, even if I went back to the US and lived there, it's like I'm still gonna be that like new process of like, you know, you have to make new friends, you have to make new connections, and like why not just do that somewhere where I'm like happy to be rather than like be somewhere that I don't care about as much.
So I feel there's not enough emotional core to the US for you.
No, not really. Like, yeah, I think part of it has to do with the fact that there's like just quality of life things that I think are much better here. Like something I realized is like these past 4 or 5 months that like 4.5 months that we've been here has been like the least stressful time in my life, which like is kind of surprising because, you know, there's like this language barrier and like German bureaucracy. I don't know if you've talked about that at all, but it's a goddamn mess. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But even with like despite those things, it's like I feel like I have more freedom to like sort of do what I want, and like for example, public transit, right? Like I don't need to like worry about like when the bus is coming, or because like they come every 10 minutes. So like I can just like leave and go places. And like I feel like and like it's also nice because I don't have to like drive a car anywhere. And for that reason, I feel like I have more like mobility independence, and like there's more things to do. And like with our student ticket, we can go like anywhere in the Mecklenburg-Westfalen, and it's like, you know, I just feel like I have
much more freedom to them. That's funny. I mean, because you know, on one of the guests that we had of the podcast, you know, Sudesh, who's our friend as well. You know, he had an entirely different opinion because he was saying that he didn't really like the fact that he has to wait for buses and your trains and everything like that.
I mean, I just fundamentally disagree because like for me, I like didn't have a car in the US because like so like my family is like me, my mom, my brother, and like the car I was using in high school then like went to my brother. So like when I was in college, I was just walking everywhere, riding my bike. Also, at least for me, like I don't necessarily want a car. Like
It feels more like a liability.
For me, it's more of like a sustainability thing. Like number one reason that I'm like a vegetarian is because of sustainability. Like animals, cool, nice. That it's not like a driving reason for me. It has more to do with like, you know, trying to be like eco-friendly and like being conscious of like our impact on the planet.
Yeah.
And for that reason, like I don't really want to have a car if there's like an alternative, you know? So like for me, I feel like the fact that there's like such good public transit infrastructure as compared to the US is like big, huge bonus for me.
Okay. You also touched on the part where we actually left, like about the bureaucracy in Germany.
Oh yeah.
Maybe what has your experience been on that so far? Like,
okay, I think I have a little bit of a different experience than like maybe some other people because like my boyfriend is German, and so like anytime that I'm like, oh my god, what is this? What do I do for this? He's just like, oh, you have to do this, this, and this. And like if I didn't have that, I would be so lost.
Yeah, okay.
Because like there's so many just like different like hoops you have to jump through, like everything you need an appointment. And like something that's frustrating to me, which I guess maybe I shouldn't like expect this, but like, you know, like all the websites for like German government buildings, for like the doctor's office, for whatever, it's all in German. Like there's no like English or anything, which like maybe I shouldn't expect that.
No, but you know, I think the problem is that you know, in Sweden as well, it's the same. In a lot of places, a lot of things are in Swedish. But the thing is, like all the websites can be used, you know, translated by Google Translate.
Yeah.
Over here it doesn't work.
Oh no, absolutely not. Like, or like there's a lot of websites where they'll be like, click on the English button, and then like only the links will be in English and all of the text stays the same. And it's like, who is this helping? Who is this helping?
You keep on coming back to the fact that, you know, you want to stay here for long, and you're about staying here almost for lifetime.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not wrong. So, I mean, how does it change the way, or you know, how does it shape your planning essentially when it comes to, you know, staying here for long? Because since you're thinking long term, you do things which are much more aligned to that direction as well.
Yeah.
And how do you essentially build up that thought?
Yeah, so I would say like I think I take two different approaches to it. So like I'm very much a planning oriented person. Like I've always been like, okay, this is my 5-year plan, this is my 10-year plan. And like I'm very okay with like changing them, but it like helps me to think about where I want to go. And so like one of the things that I've been doing or like I've done recently is like I interviewed for a company to do an internship for next semester instead of taking classes, because like if I want to stay here for 5-10 years, like I want to show that I have like I can work in a German company, right? Like I have this experience that's not just I have this experience that I can like actually work in a German company and speak German with them and like
Be okay with it.
yeah, be okay with that.
Yeah.
And like also in terms of I'm like much more ready to like research things. So I would say like, I could actually give an example. So when all of the like overseas students, so like to clarify a little bit, like there's like the Erasmus students who are like all in the EU and they have to do less stuff, and then there's the overseas students who have to like get visas and stuff. One of the like stipulations of the visa is that you have enough money to be here, basically. When the school like was giving us our appointment to go to the foreigners office to register, get our visas and stuff, they said nothing about this. But like me, I had like already researched like everything that I need, whatever. And I like mentioned this to some of the other people, like, oh, like, do you guys have, the documentation that you have enough money to be here? And they were like, oh, like, they didn't say anything about that. Like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe you should ask them about that because I'm pretty sure you need that. And then, they're like, no. And they like emailed the people at the program, and the program was like, oh, no, I don't think you need that. We, like, all as a big group go to the foreigners office. Yeah. We go to the foreigners office and they're like, oh, where is your documentation for that you have enough money? And like, I was ready. I had it. I got my visa that day. But there were like other people who like had to come back later to show that they had enough money because, no one like...
Give them the visa.
Yeah. No one like took the initiative to like really like research that stuff. They just assumed that the like school would handle it, which is like fine. I think if you're like just doing a study abroad program, like it's okay to like think that you can rely on other people. But for me personally, like I'm very driven. I'm like very wanting to like take care of things myself and make sure that I like know all the rules. So like I think I just like research a lot about especially like the legal aspect of like staying here. I'm like maybe not like an expert or anything, but like definitely know more than like a lot of the other exchange students.
That takes a lot of it. So downside to having this centralized team that they have for us, handling everyone, is like they have so much pressure on that.
Oh yeah.
Half of the thing is just sometimes they ignore. I'm not complaining, but I think they did a really good job at handling all of us. But sometimes like they're not part of the.
It was something slipped through the cracks, and
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. And on those lines as well, but is it like really difficult for anyone from the US to come here and live, or is it like okay?
Okay, I would say like from what I understand, it seems like Germany actually has like really liberal laws around immigration. Like they're very willing to like allow people to come here, and like even right now, like I've been following like there's a bill in the Bundesrat, so like their government organization, that would like they want to like update the citizenship laws. So like right now, one thing that's illegal is double citizenship for anyone outside of the EU. So like if I wanted to become a German citizen, I'd have to give up my US citizenship, which like maybe like for some other people that's like not a huge issue for them, but like I don't really want to, especially like when I consider like, going through the pandemic and stuff where like basically every single country was like absolutely no one is getting in. Like I don't want a situation where I like can't go and see my family for 5-10 years because of I have no idea. I can't predict the future, so I don't really want to like give up a citizenship that's tied to like my family.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, so like they're planning a new law that would like allow that now. We'll see if that like pans out or not. Yeah. But like I think like the fact that they're doing that and they want to update the citizenship laws really goes to show that like for Germany it's like important that they have more immigration. So
I think that's part because there's a lot of industrial revolution which is essentially happening here since a long time.
Yeah. It's a very industrial nation, and like also like right now specifically like there's like a huge there's not enough workers.
Oh, I see. Worker shortage.
Yeah, there's a worker shortage. Yeah. So they're like very willing to allow people to come in. And like for me, like as basically if you have a bachelor's degree or some sort of like certification, like if you were like a nurse, for example, it's like very easy to come here. They also have like visas that let you come here for 6 months and like look for a job, like provided you have enough of money saved up to do that. So like if you know German or you're willing to learn it, or you can find an English speaking company, which like especially if you want to move to like some of the bigger cities like Berlin, like it's pretty easy to find English speaking companies. Like you can find a job.
Yeah.
And they're like very willing to let people come here and at least try. And then like once you're here and you have a job offer, like they're pretty.
That's the open order.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Then I mean, then I find you being there for 6 months with no job at all.
Yeah.
Then you're looking for a job and start the data. Oh, cool. Makes sense. And on the like, I mean, you since you're working data on data science, how difficult it is for you to find a job, or is it easy?
Okay.
Even run through the process that you did for your internship.
Yeah. Okay. So for my internship, actually, I'm gonna say it's pretty easy. Like, as compared to the U.S., finding an internship, like I think last year when I was looking for internships, in the U.S., I think I sent out maybe like no joke, like over 100 applications. I think I heard back from maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Here so far I've sent out 2. One said no, and one I'm like in the process of interviewing. But they're like, sorry, no, which is like fine. But like that's the thing is like I feel like
It is 50%.
no, but like here's the thing though, like I heard from like maybe like 3 or 4 of those like the places that I applied, and the rest it's like nothing. Like absolutely nothing, not even a no, And so like I feel like in the US it's like you're sending out your like resume and stuff, and like you just don't hear that. Yeah, it's just into the fucking void. Versus like here, like eventually someone will get back to you.
Yeah. I was actually like looking into all these things, and I had a friend. He actually gave me the same sort of opinion about things. That if you apply, it's not like you're not gonna listen back from them.
Yeah.
At least let you know that sorry, we don't have a place.
Right.
Or they will like if they have a place that let's get a bond or something.
Right.
So that's much more respectful, I feel.
Oh yeah.
Because in the US, I remember I was applying for when I was there, I was applying for like internships and maybe start working in a company or something. So I was on LinkedIn, looking around for job roles and everything, and I came across GPN Labs. About this, and I saw there was a role for robotics engineer.
Okay.
Where 30,000 people applied.
Oh my god.
And the opening was just 2. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is like so many people apply, but like I imagine it's similar here. Maybe not. I don't know. They have a worker shortage, but it definitely seems like if you apply, you at least hear something.
Yeah, it's really maximum I've seen on LinkedIn is like for a job posting. It's like maximum I've seen like 60 people applied.
Really?
Maximum. Yeah.
That's usually like minimum in the US, like all of the internships that you're applying for, because it's like I think it also has to do with like the size of the country.
Yeah.
A little bit, because like if you're applying for like an internship role, like you're basically competing against like all of the other students in the entire country for that role. If it's posted online, if it's like posted locally, maybe not, but still, it's just like.
I think in Germany, I know for a fact that there's a compulsion that the job posting you you have to put it online and be open to everyone first.
Right.
The people from Germany can apply first, and if they don't fit the match, then they look into other offers. Isn't it that? For your data science role as well, or is it like not?
Okay, so I think like they changed the rules around this like recently, because that I think it was like in 2020 they updated the like job regulations around this. So like okay, so you have to be like I feel like I'm just like going into visa stuff.
I feel like you have I feel like you have so much perspective on your Germany. You could be a really good career counselor for them.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
No, okay, so like there used to be this thing where like in order to hire someone who's from like a third country, like outside of the EU, as a German company, you have to basically show that you can't hire anyone in Germany, can't hire anyone, and then like move on, can't hire anyone in the EU, and then you can look at people from third countries. Okay. But the rules around that have changed. Like this is not the case anymore, so I don't know if companies are still doing that. Like I think maybe it's similar, like just because like obviously like a German company wants to speak in German, so like if you don't speak German, they probably aren't gonna hire you. So they're probably looking for people in Germany and then maybe like other German-speaking countries first. But if you can show that you can speak German, I don't think there's any reason that they wouldn't look at you. Yeah.
He's more prepared to, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think that we talked a lot about Germany and work.
Yeah.
And let's not touch that area again.
Okay.
At least not on this podcast. Okay. Yeah, but on a personal side, how do you like keep yourself motivated, and how do you push yourself on a regular day-to-day basis? Do you feel like motivation is something that drives you, or there is something else that drives you more in that direction?
I think, like, for me, it's not motivation, because motivation fades. Like, it's more like the discipline to keep going and like seeing like progress and like the things that I want to do that like keep me going. So like, for example, like I've tried to like learn several languages. German, the only one I've been successful at, because like basically, at the beginning, you're so excited, like, you're doing so much every single day. And then like after a while,
it's a learning curve, right?
And like, I think for other things in life, like it's similar where it's like, you just got to make it a habit, and then for me, I have to make it a habit, and then it like builds on itself. As long as I like, have the habit and then like see the progress, it's like very easy for me. Like the motivation is like the spark at the beginning, but motivation alone is not what's gonna like keep me moving towards my goals at all.
Cool, bro. And are you like a party person, or are you like a be at home and a book person?
Okay. I don't know, because like, okay, before in the US I was like, yeah, like I'm a party person, like I love partying, like I love going out. But like here, I just don't think I can do it. Like, I think like in the US, you party until maybe like 2 a.m. and then all the bars are closed. And then you go home. So you're at home at like 3 a.m. Or if you're not home at 3 a.m., you're doing something like you're having a crazy night, right? But like here, like there's some people who, like don't even go out until like midnight. And I'm like, excuse me, no. So like for me, I just can't, I can't stay out that late. And like, because that's the expectation when you're partying here, I think I've become less of a party person than I was. But like, for example, a couple days ago, we were like here, we were like hanging out, drinking, whatever. And like, that was super nice because we came over at like 9 p.m. And then by 11 p.m. I was like, okay, I'm going home, like goodbye. Like, but you have that little like, little party. Exactly.
Choose it between doing like a EU party or like a US party.
Exactly.
So makes sense. And like something that I feel like is something which is like I could relate to at the moment in this situation is that this 4.5 months like, has exposed us a lot to the parties so much that
oh my god. Yeah.
Kind of like, as another thing, like the price of alcohol in Germany.
It's so cheap.
Yeah,
it's so cheap. Like, I think that was something that like shocked me the most, is because like you can find beers for like, first of all, it was weird to me that you can buy a single beer, but like, whatever, cool. But like, you can find them for like 60, 70 like cents, and it's just like, excuse me, like, if I was an alcoholic, it would be game over for me, bro.
But apart from Germany, like on this tour, like for how long did you explore anywhere else as well, like other places apart from Germany?
So like before we started the program, I did like some traveling, and like it was mostly like in the Netherlands. Like I was in Amsterdam, and then I did like a couple days in like some other cities.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, for me, I realized that because I was doing it like solo, I realized that I don't really like traveling solo in cities, because like it just feels so like big to me, versus like if I solo travel and I like go to like an island or like a beach or something, like I'm fine just sitting on the beach by myself. But like go to a museum by myself. I'm also not into going to museums that much, but like to like walk around a city by myself, like
that's much fun.
And like listen to a podcast, like I can do that like literally anywhere.
I'd been through that one.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to this podcast.
Yeah, that's the wish. Okay, I figured nice side. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, I agree. I mean, I feel Netherlands is like worth visiting for anyone who's coming there, at least. And I think that's at least one of those countries that I feel is like better than.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the Netherlands was cool. I think they have really good public infrastructure. bike infrastructure in the Netherlands, obviously amazing, but I think it's also pretty good in Dortmund. It's not like, okay, it's not amazing.
It's very scary.
It's risky. You think it's risky?
I go to the university on my bike every day, so yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. It's not okay. It's not amazing, but once again, you have to remember, for me, the bar is in hell, i.e. the U.S.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like it's pretty good.
Driving so fast in the morning at 7 o'clock.
Oh my god. Yeah, that is one thing I will say. Like, it feels like the drivers here are fucking ruthless. Like, it feels like everyone is like fucking driving so fast.
This is more waste.
Okay, this is like a personal gripe, but you know the light that's like right outside to like cross the road?
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll push it and you'll be standing there for like 3-4 minutes and it won't turn. And it just like makes me so mad because I'm like, the people who are in the car, they can stop for 30 seconds.
And what are your opinions about the food over here? That is not a good experience.
I think we talked about this before. Like, the food here is mid at best. Like,
What did you rate? Explain mid.
okay, so like
That's a new term for me.
mid, it's middle of the road. It's not like it's terrible,
Yeah.
but it's not something to write home about. No, like
Of course.
like I said, there was like the other day I like came back from the Mensa and you were like, oh, like did you guys already eat? And I was like, no, there was just nothing in there that I wanted to eat, so I'm just gonna make something that's like better at home because like German food is not exactly like the most. Yeah, it's not the most flavorful. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. The food they make in the Mensa is mid. That's all I'm gonna say. And like the other thing is like the food that you can get here, like in Dortmund, it's like a lot of pizza and doner, and like that's
Can't
hot.
have anything else, I feel.
Yeah.
In North, I think you can only find pizza, donut, pasta, and schnitzel.
Yeah, but the thing is like I don't have a problem with any of those foods. It's just like I don't necessarily always want to eat those foods, and it feels like there's nowhere that I can go and just like eat some vegetables. Like, I personally like vegetables.
You mean bowl of salad or something?
No, I don't mean a bowl of salad or something. Like, salad is fine, cool, but like, you know, like in the U.S., if I like go to a Thai place, right, and I get like a vegetable curry or like a tofu and vegetable curry, like there's some vegetables in there. I feel like if you want like doner, you're gonna get a lot of vegetables. You know what I mean? Like, which is fine, but I'm a vegetarian. I like vegetables.
Yeah. I don't think so. There's a lot of Asian dishes at all
You don't think there's a lot of vegetarian places?
in here in Dortmund.
Okay, I think we have different experiences.
Yeah.
Because like that's something I will say about like Germany in general. I feel like there's a lot of vegetarian options. Like if you go to like pretty much any.
No, I agree. I mean, there are vegetarian options, but like in terms of like, I don't think you can experiment a lot with vegetarian food.
That's true.
I mean,
I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not enough room for you to get something exotic, and you're like, oh, this is something which is special. Everything feels almost the same.
Yeah.
I'm not going against you or anything.
Yeah.
I feel there is very less room of experimenting with vegetarian food.
Yeah.
But what are your experiences on those?
I mean, yeah, I would say like there's. I would say there's not a lot of like variety.
There are a lot of vegetarian places here.
There's not a lot of like specifically vegetarian and vegan places here, but it feels like every single restaurant that you go to will have like 2 or 3 like vegetarian options and then maybe one.
This is weird.
Yeah, it's usually like 2.
Even that vegetarian like almost goes along the same menu part. I mean, I'm not
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually there's like a section of the menu that's like vegan, vegetarian, and like. But I mean, I feel like Germany is like really very vegan, vegetarian friendly in general.
It is but I mean, if you and if you can't go with a Sunday Sweden, right? The thing you to surprise that.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, if you go to like, there's a very popular burger chain known as Max.
It's okay.
Okay, so you want to forget the name.
Yeah.
So the place, if you go to Max, then order a burger. And if you get the biggest burger from there, okay, it almost feels like you're having a salad.
I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because
Big fan.
the thing is like, even if they're putting like a beef patty inside, it's actually like a vegan beef patty.
Okay.
And you can actually choose between, if you want like a vegan one, and because it's synthetic, obviously.
Right.
It's more like, they have alternatives for, everything. And I feel like the laws in Sweden especially are like so strict regarding food that I think they change at least 50 to 60% of the McDonald's menu.
Wow.
And they removed all the sauces which were having chemicals in this week. Yeah.
They removed all the good shit.
They're like, yeah. no, Luis was telling you about ranch sauce. Ranch.
Oh my god, it's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ranch sauce.
Yeah,
It's not ketchup.
Okay, yeah. Okay, ranch sauce. Yeah, it's not ketchup. Yeah, but ranch, that's like the gold standard of the
Yes.
US food.
Ranch dressing, amazing, fantastic. There's nothing like it here that I found so far. Oh, like I don't even. Okay, I would say like of the U.S. foods, ranch is not one that I particularly miss. Like sometimes when I'm eating fries, I'm like, ranch would hit right now.
What do you miss though? What do you?
Peanut butter hands down. It's peanut butter. Like I feel like people who are not from the U.S. like just don't really get it.
Which brand is like the most famous one that you like?
No, I like Jif.
Would you recommend that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jif.
Yeah, it's just like JIF. Amazing, fantastic. I like recently my boyfriend, he made me peanut butter because like all of the peanut butters I've tried in Germany, like they're not exactly the same. They're just different, you know, like they're not as sweet, which is like, you know what? No, it's bad. I don't like it.
Oh.
And like they're not the right texture, and I'm not a fan.
You must Jif for
Yeah, and so he made me like an extra sweet peanut butter, and it made me really happy. So peanut butter is definitely something that I miss a lot. Like
anything that you would, anything that you would make daily dishes that is a very typical US thing. Well, make
Oh, I would say like eggs.
eggs.
Yeah. Okay, but wait. Hear me out. So like my family came to visit me, and my boyfriend was also here, and we were like buying groceries for the week, and my brother, he oh, like how many eggs are in here? He grabbed like 2 cartons of eggs, which is like 20 eggs. And my boyfriend was like floored. He was shocked. He was like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone ever buy 2 cartons of eggs at the same time in my life. Like in Germany, it just seems like you don't really eat that many eggs. Like you eat them maybe once, twice a week. And so like for me, like a very typical breakfast would just be like, 2 or 3 eggs, like scrambled or fried or whatever.
Like an omelet or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an American thing, is it?
Yeah.
That sounds good. That's an Indian thing.
Oh, okay, so you're like eggs. To be honest.
People eat eggs all the time.
Exactly.
Food. But in Iowa, I don't think so. There's a lot of like ocean opportunities, right? Because I feel
No.
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's nothing there. It's just flat land. Yeah. We have rivers. We have like some lakes, like some small lakes, but like there's no ocean. Like it's like thousands of miles in both directions to the nearest ocean.
But so this was thing your childhood in Iowa.
Yeah.
When you were like in your 5 or 6 years old, essentially that was the time when this push of time was coming in, and it was essentially the push which was coming from the US. That a lot of technology was booming, a lot of technology was coming, and being in the US, and experiencing that sort of phase. How was it? Like, do you have like some memories from that era as well?
I feel like the thing is like when you're a kid, you don't like realize anything really.
Okay, maybe like I think 5 or 6 years is not a good number. Maybe like 10 or 12 years old when you like actually have a strong conscience and you feel like things are changing around you.
I mean, like, but here's the thing though. Like I said, I think when you're a kid, you don't like realize that much about the world, and especially in the U.S., I feel like you're really taught like, oh, your country is like the best in the world, like America's the best. So like that means like you don't really like care about looking outward that much. Like I remember when I was like a little kid, I was like, wow, I'm so lucky to have been born in America. Like this is the best possible like thing that could have happened to me. Like I'm so lucky. But that also means that like I was never curious about like how other countries like are doing, and like a lot of like the news is like just focused on the US. And like to hear news about like other countries, it has to be like something like huge, you know what I mean? And so like, because you don't have that like curiosity about like what's happening in the rest of the world, like the fact that like, there's like this innovation or whatever, like you just like, and like also because you like expect to be like the best or whatever, like anytime like that something good happens, you're just like, oh yeah, okay, like this is how it should be, you know what I mean?
So do they like actively tell you and they'll teach you as in that the US is the best country, or how is it like? Because that's something I feel like everyone from the US I met, that's something that is like inbound to them.
Yeah.
And I know there must be a way, that how is it inbound to them? Is it like taught, or is it like something that is transferred from your parents?
I'm like, when I try and think about it, I don't know. Like, it's just something that, like, it's just this feeling you get. Like, so I think it's, like, a combination of, like, it must be, like, explicit somewhere. Like, I'm sure, like...
Oh, so is it like the same feeling that, you know, like, the Kardashian family is like famous because they are famous? You know, it's something that is like inbound to them.
Yeah, kind of. Like, but I think it's also because, like, the U.S. has, like, this narrative about, like, you know, we're, like, the freest, most democratic, like, and also I was talking to my boyfriend's mom, like, about, like, visiting the U.S., and she says whenever she visited the U.S., like, even at, like, the restaurants or whatever, they'd be like, this is the best thing that you've ever had. It tastes so good. And I think, like, that's something that's really explicit in, like, American English and, like, American culture. Like, you always describe things as being the best of something. And, right, so because of that, like, then when you describe your own country, it is, of course, the best. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit of, like, explicitly, like, just like the way that the news media is like covered and like only focusing on the US, but also just like the way that things are described, like even everyday things, like you start to sort of think like, oh, okay, this is the best. And then like you really like internalize that because you hear it so much, you know what I mean?
Like, I mean, I'm not sure about how is it like in the schools, but you know, do they also like have, you know, in the literature that you read and the stories that you read, do they also glorify US as a country? Is it, you know, because that shapes the way you think about your country as well, right? Because, you know, and you on this perspective, you know, when I was in my, you know, like junior school, or you know, when I was essentially like studying on our like social sciences books, we were essentially like described how there were like fights and, you know, how India struggled this phase and struggled that phase, and how India came over and all these parts, and how India grew up. You know, so that gave us this perspective that, you know, there have been like sides of India where, you know, it has been weak, but now we are like shaping and building things in a better way.
Right.
But so was it like the same for you? I mean, how was it regional?
Yeah, I would say like a lot of the way that things get taught is very much like, you know, minimizing the flaws and like really playing up the like strong suits. Yeah. So
how would you imagine that, Mark? They don't exist or something?
I mean, okay, so like this has been like talked about like a lot recently in like US news, is like not teaching about like racism and slavery and stuff. Like there's several states like where the like so each state like issues like the textbooks that they're going to use for each subject, or maybe not issues, but like recommends these such and such textbooks. And like there's several states where like, you know, the cause of the Civil War is because of like differences in wanting states' rights, when the cause for the Civil War was because they wanted to keep slaves and like they were gonna go to fight about it because the North was basically like, yeah, no, we need to stop doing this, guys, and the South was like, but the economy, we want to keep slaves, and they're like, guys, please, no, like this is not okay anymore. And they were like, but we're gonna fight for it. So like, yeah, to have a textbook that, you know, says like, you know, it's about states' rights, like getting to decide what they want to do on their own, when like yes, that's kind of true, but you're kind of like missing the huge point about why they went to war. And so like to downplay that as part of the U.S. history, I feel like is like disingenuous, and like then would go on to teach kids like if they never like have to think critically about like, oh, like there was a point in the U.S. history where like, you know, people were slaves and like people wanted to keep other people as slaves. Like, you know, you're really playing down the weaknesses. You know what I mean? Or like there's this like the way that like
that's very insightful. I mean,
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, because you know that there's so much about a country, and that is how they want the kids to think about things as well. You know, because if the thing is that if the kids from the US don't really know that there was a phase that US ever lost, I was having a bad time, you know, they would hit for their battle like that, you know. I think US
right. And that's another thing is like the way that like a lot of times like civil rights gets covered in the US is like, you know, like before the 1950s, before Martin Luther King, like there was racism and that was bad. But now that like Martin Luther King came and like we have like the Civil Rights Act and stuff, like racism, that's over. Like we elected a black president, like look at us, like racism is over, right? And like the way that history is taught, like very much makes it seem like racism or like basically like any like social problem that we have is like solved in the past. And like I think that like the US is like, yes, socially progressive, but like the way that we teach history makes it seem like all of our shortcomings have already been solved.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, okay. So but that's a false feeling that is.
Oh yeah.
That way.
Oh yeah. But that's why it seems like we're the best. Like we solved everything. Like we did it. We solved racism, guys.
That's okay. So, but that's such an insightful thing because I feel only someone who has analyzed the entire situation or analyzed have been there in the education system can only like
Right.
and but that tells so much that that the students or the kids essentially would never think about any other country, and I think that also boils down to the fact that why so many people in the US don't really have any knowledge about any other country.
Oh yeah, like okay, for example, I would like now that we were like talking about this, I've been thinking about it and I was like, I don't think I know anything about any European country other than Germany, and the only thing I know about Germany is that they were the cause for World War II. Like that's like maybe that's like an ad. Maybe I'm terrible. I didn't pay attention in school, but like I'm trying to think about like if I know anything about any European country's history at all. No, none. The French Revolution. What was that? I don't know. What was it about? I don't know. The UK. They did something. They did a colonialism at one point, but like literally any other country, don't know. I also like could not tell you all of the countries in the EU. Like definitely not. I think I could get maybe like 50%. Let's count. Okay.
Hold on.
This is good.
Let's count. And how many countries are there in the EU?
Okay. How many? I think it's like 27 or 28.
Okay.
You want me to list them? Okay. Germany, Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain, Portugal, Austria, not Switzerland, but it is in the in Europe. Not the UK anymore. Ireland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, the Czech Republic. There's definitely more countries I don't know.
Down 14 up.
I have no idea.
I did. But because I remember I've been seeing this, meme quite a lot, actually. I mean, not now, of course.
Yeah.
But that, people interviewed people from the US and they asked them, how does the world map look like? And they all choose the map where there is just US.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I would say like the US, like in terms of like focusing on geography, I would say I know more about like the Americas. Like I know more about like North America, obviously in order of the amount that I know. I say like North America and then South America and then Europe.
Yeah.
And then like the rest is like down there and then like the rest of the continents.
Yeah,
okay.
People don't care about it.
No.
But it's like they don't even teach you about this in your school, is it?
No.
So I mean, because
like for example, like European history, it was like
of course not European history, but geographical maps and everything,
Yeah, sort of.
I mean,
like
it doesn't look like, but I mean, to be honest.
Like okay, like here I'll tell you what. When I was in middle school, I had a geography class, and I remember like I had worksheets where we had to fill out like all of the countries. That was 1 year. Could I do that now? Absolutely not. Like we did one for each continent, and like through the whole year we like covered the whole world, but like it's gone.
What? How old were you at that time?
12 or 13, something like that.
So it's being taught, but it's not that important, is it?
No, it's like one class in my entire education.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, because I think for the geography class, at least I had geography class for at least 7 years. And in all those 7 years, there is like a different specific geography class, there's a different social sciences class, and there's a general knowledge class as well, which talks about, where things are and where things are.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think that shapes the way people think about.
I feel like also if you like talk to different people in the US, you're gonna get really different opinions because like I said, education is like on a state by state basis. So like it could just be that like Iowa does not give a shit about geography, but I think this is like a US wide problem.
Yeah, I think so. It's a USI problem. Okay, cool.
But again, it just goes back to like, you know, if you're the best country in the world, who cares about the geography of our other places? You just need to know the 50 states. That's it, baby.
And another thing which I find it, you know, quite funny and quite dark as well is like the fact that you can sue anyone in the country. So how does that work? I mean, you see someone on the street, so how do you like?
I mean,
Because
you think it's dark? I find that interesting.
maybe it's not dark. I think that's kind of like scary to me. I mean, you know, you went to the grocery store, you mess up with someone, and you know you get it.
Like, okay, yeah. Yes, it's like a very litigious country. Like, yes, you can like sue anyone for anything in theory.
Yeah.
But like the only people who are like suing people left and right are already rich people because like it costs money to sue people. And unless you have like a really good reason to sue someone, like you're not just gonna like set up like a frivolous lawsuit. Because like if you lose, you're gonna have to pay a bunch of legal fees to your lawyer and to them and to the court. Like so like yes, in theory you can sue someone.
Because
But-
I was the why I'm talking about this is because you know I think a couple of weeks back there was I think 1 week back there was this conference or CES in the US
Okay.
in Las Vegas, and there was this software company that came up where they were pitching this idea that sue anyone by a click of a button, and you know like instant suing. I'm like, okay, that's a different proposition that they are.
I think like okay, that sounds really that does sound dark. I know it has to be that, but like I think like it's good and bad because on one hand, it like means that you know like in theory anyone can get justice for any like thing that's wrong. So like you know there's more of an incentive to like try to be better, I guess.
Okay.
you don't want to get sued, so you're not going to do something that you're like not qualified for, or like you know you're basically you're trying to avoid getting sued, so you do things like very to the book, like you know making sure that you know what you're doing, stuff like that, because you know there's like legal recourse if you fuck up, but I mean it's hard for me to like say if it's a good or a bad thing because like this is all I know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't find it that odd.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of think it's a good thing in a way because, like, then, like I said, if someone fucks some shit up, like, you have some recourse. You have a way to get revenge. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Not if it'll work out, but you have a way.
I think because I have a friend in the US who's doing his masters, and he told me that you know he's essentially allowed to take his phone even when he's writing an exam.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why?
And he's like, I asked him the same question why, and he's like, because you know if someone says you something that then essentially students can sue the teacher, so that's why they're allowed. I'm like,
Interesting.
yeah, it's a legitimate thing.
I mean, like, I don't know about, like, necessarily taking your phone into exam. Like, usually they say you can't do that. But it depends on the university, obviously. But in terms of, like, recording things, like, there's a lot of states where, like, they're called, like, single-party consent states. So basically, like, I can take a recorder or my phone or whatever into, like, a room and, like, record the conversation without you even knowing. And, like, that's allowed. And then, like, I can use that later in court or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. But usually, like, people have spy cameras and spy microphones for that. I mean, yeah, I did.
You don't have to be that sneaky.
Okay. You can just,
Yeah, but still.
But you can also like keep a phone on the table and you tell them that.
Yeah.
Because in some places, it's like important that you acknowledge the people that this conversation is being recorded, is it?
Right. And like I think there's like different laws for like companies and stuff, but at least for like just like private individuals, like you can, at least in the state of Iowa, you can record anything you want to and not tell the other person that they're being recorded.
Okay, so that's what we have.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if this like applies to video or not, but I know for audio it definitely does.
Okay.
Yeah, because I imagine like you could run into a situation where you're like being recorded doing something, perhaps naked, and that would not be good.
Yeah.
But I think in that case they could sue you.
Good. But on that end note, you know, any learning that you want to give to, like 16-year-old Leona, or something that you would wish you would have known earlier, or things that you want to fit sort of thing? Anything that would be like, you would want to tell this 16-year-old Leona now. Although you are like nearly 60, I mean, not that far from 16-year-old, but still.
That makes it sound like I'm 18, bro. I'm 29.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, still, I mean, that's a good thing.
Here. I think like just like in high school, I was like so sad like all the time.
Okay.
And like I think like just being like, it gets better. Like it gets better, don't worry. But I think there's not, I don't know.
Caring too much here.
Yeah. I don't know if I have like a ton of advice because like I think like I've like grown from it.
Yeah.
But like I think basically like who I am now, my 16-year-old self would be proud of. And like I think I was gonna become that person anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's not right. I don't think there's like any like fatal mistakes that I really made. Actually, I take it back. There's one thing that I wish I would have done differently. So when I was applying to university, I only applied to one university. And I wish I had applied to more universities. But the thing is,
Good thing, right? I mean,
you
applied it to one, got it to one.
Exactly, I was fine.
Yeah.
But otherwise I would. But the thing is like I ended up loving that university anyway, and I think I would have been happy, like anywhere. And I know like at the time, like a lot of my friends, like they were sad they didn't get into like their chosen universities. So I'm like fine having applied to one, but it's kind of interesting to go down the path of like, how different would it have been?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's frivolous. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if the grass would be that much greater. It's just more like I wonder what would have happened.
You have a greener grass right now.
Yeah, I have the greenest grass possible.
That's right. Cool. But yeah, on that note, thank you again for being.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it was lovely having you. Yeah, and I hope every one of you, had a really insightful learning session with Leona herself, because I enjoyed this conversation. You told me so much about the US. Although me being there for a while,
Yeah.
I thought there are things which I could have learned, but I think this conversation made it like even more deeper and made it much more insightful. And yeah, that would be all for this episode. I'll catch you up in the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.